So there's, where you start on the steer to begin slick shearing, it's up to you. For me, I prefer to start in the back with the tail, because really and truly the tail is kind of the only critical thing that you got to think about and make sure you get right. Once you get that clipped in to the proper length, then from there it's just shearing everything off after that. So it doesn't take a lot of thinking once you get past the tail. When you think about the tail, there are rules at many of the major stock shows and also the county fairs and local shows that they've got to be either 11 or 12 inches from the base of the tail there. And that's where the bone stops on the tail. So you can see on this steer, the base of his tail is right there. And so what you have to do is you got to measure up either 11 or 12 inches, depending on the rules. For my family, I recommend to everybody is cut it about an inch shorter than what it's supposed to be. I had a gentleman tell me that there's no need to get kicked out of the show because of something as senseless as just about a half an inch or a quarter inch tail that is not clipped in right. And so what you do is you come in and you can measure. And so if the measurement is 12 inches, I've got 11 inches on my tape measure. Some individuals will use a comb. For me, I just like to use the tape measure. So it's right there. That's your starting point. Again, sometimes the cattle may have a tail that's longer, and you also need to kind of begin to adjust it as well. And so shearing that tail about where the middle of those two quarters comes together, that's kind of an ideal length. But again, you got to measure, make sure that you're at that. If it's a 12-inch rule, then I would recommend measuring it 11 inches, and then you go up from there. So that's your starting point with the shearing on this particular steer. As far as the tail down here, the length of the tail, that's just personal preference of what you want to do. Typically, I will trim these tails just a little bit. You really want to trim the tail to where it looks the best and kind of balances out the calf. This calf here, I'd probably trim just a little bit more off. Some people like to leave them a little longer than others. For me, I just like to step back and try to figure out where that calf balances out the best from there. Then it's just, once you've got your starting point on the slick shearing on the tail, then you just begin to shear up and against the hair. And that's the key thing is, in order to get that less than that quarter inch of hair, you got to shear against it. The other reason for shearing against it, in addition to getting the length, is that you get a good smooth cut on that.